You see yourself on the back there.
Oh yeah, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
That's for when taking pictures.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the the podcast thing that we do. Yeah, Beware of the Dog podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm Manny Rowland, and my co-hosts are
Mr. Jimenezki,
Mr. Jimenezki.
Hen Dog, as nobody calls me. Maybe Danny. That's about it. But it's I think it's fitting considering we're bewailing of the dog.
That's a good
There you
point.
go.
That's
Yeah,
a good point. You just
yeah.
earned the nickname.
There you go.
I love when we teach the kids class and the kids give each other nicknames.
They do, and sometimes we give them nicknames as well. What was the most recent one?
For Harmon, he's the Harm Bar.
A Harm Bar. That was amazing. That was amazing. Julio gave him that this weekend.
Yeah.
But anyway, enough of jiu-jitsu because there was hardly any jiu-jitsu this past weekend. Amazing stuff, man. I mean, just even the one person that I thought was going to have some jiu-jitsu in Diego Lopez. Yeah, with that knockout, man.
Oh, he's something else. And I love that he was an underdog going
into
that.
Me too.
Like I even said to my wife, I was like, I'm going heavy on Diego Lopez.
Yeah.
And she was like, do you even know him? And I'm like, I know enough that the last night I saw him. And I mean, aside from that like emo haircut, dude is legit, man.
He's super legit. It's funny you called it emo because when I went to the fights and I was with Marcelo and he was like he called it the emo faux hawk.
The emo faux hawk. He was like, you seen those memes where they're like, "'Cause tonight will be the night." I just kept singing it every time.
Definitely does look like him, but no, he's a killer, absolute killer. I really, honestly, I look forward to his future.
He's a problem in that weight division.
He really is.
He's got incredible stand-up. We know he's got some jiu-jitsu under his belt.
Amazing submissions, amazing submissions. But I'm excited. I'm excited what he brings for sure. And moving on, I mean, was that the first? That was the first fight. The first fight of the main card, and then Saint Denis.
I mean, come on, that guy, dude.
He's an absolute animal. He reminds me of I'm trying to remember what's the best comparison for him. Almost like who's the guy who went over to bare knuckle?
Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about too. Kind of looks like him a little bit.
It does. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's why I think that's why they have a similar fighting style. Both really tough, can take shots. I think Saint Denis is definitely more technical.
The impressive thing to me about that strike was that it was while chasing.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So like it takes. Obviously, we know that it was a technical throw.
Yep.
But also like the amount of dexterity, like hip dexterity, you need to be able to pull that kind of maneuver off with that much force.
Amazing.
He cracked them open.
He did.
He was chasing.
Yes.
Dude was running away.
Yes.
What?
Yeah. No. The guy is tough, and I've seen maybe one of his fights before. Yeah. But I had seen some highlights prior to the fight, obviously. And then I think I was talking to Marcelo, maybe it was you and I was talking about it. And both of you guys were hyping the fight up. And so last minute, I took him.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it was on a five fight parlay that just shit the bed after that fight.
Yeah, that was it for me too.
But
like the Saint Denis fight, I mean, like the thing that I had seen a couple of his fights before, and I kind of went into it like excited to watch him.
Yes.
Though I knew that he had a hard match, I didn't think it was going to be that fast.
No, me neither.
I didn't think he was going to be that dominant. And like now for that weight division, like dude's a problem.
Serious problem.
I just want to touch on this for 1 second.
Yeah.
Because this is something that I've kind of like played back historically. Some of the toughest dudes, for me at least, like some of my top favorite guys, whether it's a St. Pierre or a Anderson Silva, like I noticed that the guys that were the most dangerous had the softest, babyest voices I've ever heard in my life. And Saint Denis,
he definitely does.
I was like, "You sweet little angel."
Yeah, it's true though. You think about Saint Pierre, very soft spoken. I mean, you named two of them in Anderson Silva as well. I'm trying to think who else would have been.
Mike Tyson's voice was hilarious.
Very hilarious. I could kind of like BJ Penn a little bit. He had like that Hawaiian accent. But you're right. It's true. It's very true.
So I guess
very true.
Getting at is if somebody's soft spoken,
you gotta watch out.
Probably dangerous.
Yeah, soft spoken and cauliflower ear. We're in trouble. We're in trouble. Speaking of cauliflower ear, serious disappointment for me at least in that next fight.
Mackenzie. What was that, dude? Her fight with Angela Hill, she looked like such a superior striker.
She did. She looked sharp. She looked really
Incredible.
sharp.
And then she fired her coach.
Yeah.
What's his name? Not. I keep wanting to say Pirelli, like Pirelli tires.
Yeah. No. Who's her old coach? Dan?
Starts with a P.
It does.
But she fired him after that. Shortly after the Angela
which
Hill
didn't make
match,
any sense to me.
And then came out looking like that.
Yeah, that didn't make any sense to me.
Throwing bombs from like, head tucked and then like chin way too high in other places.
Yeah. Did you see the way she was throwing and reaching with her shots? It was like it was a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
And not only that, her hands were down most of the fight too.
Versus Andrade, that's not a good idea.
No, I mean that's the one thing I like about Andrade. She's a gamer, number one, solid striking, and has a great stance. Really solid stance.
I thought we were going to see the Jessica Andrade that lost the last
Me too.
fight.
Me too.
We were going to see the Mackenzie during that
one. Me too. I couldn't agree with you more. No, we didn't. There was one glimpse of it when she
interaction, right?
Well, no, she had that head toss, that headlock toss.
Yeah.
But the problem is when she went down with the head toss, I tell even the kids when they look for those headlock tosses, and I used to even tell my kids when they used to wrestle, those headlock tosses, you're setting yourself up. If you get it and it's solid, and they do it when they're 5, 6, 7 years old. They usually get them off and then they'll pin from that headlock toss. Yeah. What I've noticed, especially with my one son Julio, is that when he used to headlock toss, he would finish the toss, but then get rolled over after the toss, and then usually get pinned because of it. He'd be put in a bad position. Ever since he had switched up and go looking for the underhook, the toss was much stronger, and then you'd end up in like a nice Kesikatami, a much more dominant position.
And I think she did that. That throw was exceptional.
It was.
I think she did that because of winding up in a bad position.
Yes.
It was not a desirable situation. It was an overstrike.
It was.
And then got in that bad position.
Yes.
She had to adjust, and she adjusted well, but then didn't finish on the bottom there.
No, and couldn't. It didn't put her in a very dominant position. Excuse me. And Andrade was able to get out. Yeah. Which I think.
She's a black belt too, though, right, Jessica? I think she's a black belt in jiu-jitsu.
I know she's got jiu-jitsu. There's no question. She's got some submissions because she's shown that in the past.
Not like Mackenzie Dern.
No, it's not. It's not as smooth. It's much rougher, but very, very good defense. Mm-hmm. Solid submission defense. Mm-hmm. It's submission escapes. She's a black belt. Yeah. Under who? Does it say?
Nogueira. No, I don't know. I'm taking a guess.
Okay. Yes. Why? Yeah, there you go. It was like you were like the American
Italian.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like the white guy saying it, pronouncing the name.
Yeah.
But no, it was good. I thought Andrade, she was game, man. Yeah. She was game, and like you said, I expected the opposite as well. I was disappointed, but I wasn't disappointed with the fight. It was a solid fight. And speaking of solid fights, we move on to the next fight, man. Aspinall, I would have never. I mean, I guess looking back, not that I was hating on Aspinall because I like Aspinall.
I was hating on Aspinall.
Were you?
Yeah, I've been a clear Aspinall hater for a while.
Okay.
Not because I don't know. It's just like that. The little mustache thing bothers me, and just like he just looks like a proper chap, isn't it?
Yeah.
And something about him, I just didn't.
The voice.
Something.
The voice. It's the voice. Enough. It's the soft voice.
But yeah, he man, the
head movement, really good. Yeah,
head movement was incredible. Getting out of the way, bing.
His striking looked phenomenal. And you know his story, right? His dad coaches him.
Yeah.
And his dad started him in martial arts at a very young age, and then coached him as he got,
How cool is that?
Great story, man.
Yeah, now I like him.
Me too. Yeah. All of a sudden, I am too. I saw the story after the fact.
I think I'm about to cut my mustache that way.
There you go. Don't please. But I think I do like it's almost similar to like similar, the same but different. With Khabib with his dad. I love those wholesome stories, for lack of a better term. I think what it does for the kid is it really, you call him a kid, he's obviously a man now, but what it does for the son is it really gives them good structure as they grow. And I'm trying to do the same for my kids. I know you're doing the same for your kids, son or daughters, and I think it's going to make them a better person overall.
He is a complete fighter, though.
He is. He's a very complete fighter.
I didn't think, I thought, and this was my kind of prediction, was if it ends in the first round, Sergey's knocking him out. If it goes past the first round, I was going to give it to Aspinall, but I didn't think that it was going to be by virtue of knockout.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to be outclassed.
Yeah.
I even said to my wife when that one started, I was like, this is going to be a long one, probably like 5 rounds here.
Yeah, dude.
I was like, it's either first round or 5, and if it's 5, it's Aspinall. First, it's Pavlovich.
Yeah, and their average time of fighting, in previous matches was what, like 3 minutes combined?
That's crazy.
It's nuts. It's nuts.
Yeah, I did. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, Pavlovich connected once, and you could see that it noticeably impacted him.
Yes.
But still, man, the way he just bounced those punches off his head, man, I was like,
yes, it was awesome, man.
Extremely impressive.
Yeah, no, I was happy for him. I mean,
who's got what for him now?
I don't. That's the only. I can't think of it. Maybe John Jones, depending on.
Stipe and John.
I know that's what they're saying, and I think he gets the winner of. And Dana is like hell bent on making. I almost wonder if Dana's hell bent on making that Stipe fight with John, because he's worried that if he feeds John to Aspinall, that Aspinall is going to take his head off.
Have you seen the memes where they show when Stipe and John Jones finally fight? And
they're both
like super great.
Yeah, I did see that. I saw that right afterwards. But I don't know. We don't know what Aspinall's wrestling is going to be like, though, or his takedown defense. That's the one thing that I think John, unless he was going against a high end grappler like a Cormier. I'm trying to even remember who else he would have been able to kind of counter his grappling. Off the top of my head, I can't think of it, but he's a phenomenal grappler, man. A phenomenal grappler. And I think that would be the only thing, and his length. Because he does have length. I'm curious to know, because I know Aspinall has.
I think he had an 84, 85 inch reach.
He did, which was funnier because he was outreached by Sergey.
Yeah.
Sergey had like an inch on him, I think. It wasn't a lot.
Yeah.
But he was shorter than him. Yeah. So, but if you look at Sergey's arms, he's got these long ass arms. So I'm sure that plays a role in Sergey's knockouts prior to Aspinall.
For sure.
And maybe that's why, that could be another reason why, but nonetheless, hat off to Aspinall.
Question is, so now he is, Aspinall's the
interim.
But John Jones did not forfeit his title. He still has it, which is why he has to defend.
It's amazing. It's amazing how things happen, isn't it?
Weird.
I know, dude. It's amazing to me because we talk about, let's put that to the side for a second, and now we talk about the main event. And you see that Yuri he forfeited his match. Now I don't know if he was forced to or if he did that on his own.
I think
he was forced to.
He came out on social media.
He did it himself.
He did it himself because he said the weight class deserved it.
Yeah, and then Jamal Hill did the same. Two very classy fighters, by the way. I really want to see. I want to see the Pieta Jamal Hill fight next. I don't know what else fight you make after that. You don't go Jan Blachowicz, obviously, because he already beat him.
Jan says he's got unfinished business with him.
I know. Maybe get knocked out this time. I don't know. Because I'll tell you what, man. He looked even better in this fight than he did against Blachowicz.
Well, then you still got Johnny Walker and Magomed Ankalaev that have to finish up where they left off.
Yes.
Which would be a reasonable second fight if he defends his first,
Yeah. It would, but I don't know how I'm feeling about. Well, first of all, Johnny Walker lost his oh no, he got hurt. Johnny Walker.
That was the illegal knee that was called an accident.
Yes. That was ridiculous, by the way.
Because we were in the said country.
Exactly. So I'm curious to know, what they do next. I would imagine that. Yeah, I mean, I guess it would have to be Jamal. I'd like to see Jamal Hill next.
100%. But my only thing is, I mean, it's the right thing.
It is.
But how long is Jamal Hill's recovery? Did they? I think they did set a date for Jamal Hill Pereira, or they're kind of stimulating.
Oh, they did.
Not stimulating. They're speculating.
Speculating.
Yeah. They're speculating. I think April.
Okay. I like that. That's gonna be a good fight. That's gonna be a very interesting fight. I like Jamal Hill. I like Jamal Hill a lot.
I think they are running back Magomed versus Johnny Walker.
They are.
Right?
I did see that. January? Oh no, is it Magomed versus who's Jan Blachowicz fighting? Because they do have Jan fighting someone. Is it the same guy who did he go to a draw with? Was it
Magomed?
It was Magomed. Okay, I think they're running that fight back. I thought.
Are they?
I don't know. I could be wrong. I thought I saw something about that. But that was a terrible fight, man. I hope they don't run that fight back. That was bad. And I like Blachowicz. I do like Blachowicz a lot. But no, I mean, Pieta, man, I don't know if anybody had, Jamal Hill, I think is striking. The one thing that kind of disappointed me about Yuri was, and it's just his fighting style. So I think that played a role, but his striking kind of looked like, who's the bantamweight that like always shifts in and out, Dominic Cruz.
I thought you were going to say the other one. I think he's no, he's not a bantamweight, but yeah, Dominic.
Yeah, Dominic has that footwork that he does. And I think
Corey Sandhagen is the one.
Sandhagen, yes, he does have a similar fighting style, but I think he fell right into Pieta's game because of that.
Yeah, I think he was trying to be too unorthodox.
I think he was too,
like completely illegible. And what he did was it just put Pereira in a place where he was more like he wasn't overexerting at all. He's just like letting him get fatigued.
Very, very patient. And he's a patient killer, man. That guy is absolutely amazing, bro.
I mean, dude, the distance with which he connected to fold him, that was such a short.
Yes.
The amount of impact.
Yeah.
It's incredible, man.
And he did that same thing, a similar distance against Adesanya.
Yeah.
Very, very similar type of fighting style. His striking is really amazing. That's that close quarter striking.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Oh, that it's almost like dirty boxing without dirty boxing.
Yeah, I was. It reminded me, and not to say his name twice in one of a podcast, but it had like a Tyson-like effect to it.
It does
with its proximity.
Yes. Yeah, very almost like a little like what's his name was doing against Tyson Fury. Ngannou. Ngannou kind of adopted that similar style when he was fighting Fury, and that really threw Fury off a lot because he's used to being able to keep distance, and Ngannou wanted nothing to do with it. And because of that, because he kept that pressure on him, that's how he was able to drop him, and that's how he was able to win that fight.
But I think a lot of times why it's so dangerous and difficult to deal with Pereira is because a lot of times guys with that length like use their length to their advantage, and he's allowing you into his space.
Yes.
He establishes where he needs you, and then he lets you in, and then chops you up.
Yeah, no, I mean, and that's if you look back on his what were you about to say? Oh, okay. If you look at some of his old, I was able to catch like a couple of his old kickboxing fights as well.
Mm-hmm.
They have posted on YouTube, and he's when you adopt that type of kickboxing style and then bring it into MMA the way he's been able to do that, it's pretty crisp.
You know what's interesting, actually? A little fun fact.
Go ahead.
Ding, fun fact. So I speak, read, and write the language
that
is of the native people where Pereira is from.
Yeah.
They're the Guarani Tupi.
Yep.
And that's what my family is, Guarani. And they say on all the publications and stuff like that Poatan, the way they pronounce it is Poatan, but in our language we say Poatan. Poatan actually does not mean stone hands. They keep saying stone hands.
Yes.
It actually means hard hands. Po is hand.
Yep.
Ata is hard. But stone hands is po ita. So somebody must have mistranslated it to them. And now everyone's like, oh, it's his nickname is Stonehands. And I'm like, something didn't feel right about it, and I was
Yeah.
like, wait, that's not right.
Yeah. It's hard hands.
Well, I thought it's hard hand.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
UFC, you need a new translator. I'm here for you. Not to worry.
Yeah, he's got it. He's got it.
Is Ita.
Yeah.
Ita is rocks.
Yeah.
Stones.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. Because he's got hands of stone, man.
Yeah, he does.
And especially now that he's gone up in this weight class. What I would like to see him do, though, and I don't know that Adesanya ever did it either, but I really would like to see him improve on his takedown defenses. You know, because he's going to end up going against someone who has a little bit better wrestling. And we saw it in Yuri. Yuri took him down.
Yeah.
Now, he did get up pretty quickly. He wasn't on the ground long. So he's definitely, you could see he's been working his get up after the takedown, you know, his takedown recovery. But I would like to see him. Look, I don't expect him to be a grappler, you know, or anything of that sort.
I read that he wants to submit Adesanya, though.
I heard that too. I heard that too. He
wants to show him that he learned his jiu-jitsu from Glover. And
yeah.
He wants to submit him.
And look, Glover's an amazing technician. Amazing technician. Amazing submission artist. But it's funny, on another side note, I don't know if you saw you've seen obviously his grappling coach, or I don't know, MMA coach, whatever he is, who owns the school right in Harrison. The big fat guy that's always with him.
Wait,
who's the guy that's always?
Yeah. I don't know his name.
I don't know his name either.
I've seen like he's the one that holds mitts for him.
He does hold mitts for him.
Like he had a couple too many big men.
Yes, for sure. And somebody was having a conversation with someone who kind of has been following over time and has kind of seen some stuff. And this guy latches on to people, basically.
That coach.
Yes. He latches onto people and gets real tight with them, and then goes wherever they go. And now, whether or not, you know, I would imagine his takedown defense probably comes from Glover, right? And his striking comes from his striking, right? He didn't just pick that up recently. So I'm wondering what this guy actually does, other than just eat as much food as possible anytime they're around.
I did see.
Did you see the Marcelo sent it to me the other day? It has his progression.
Yeah. Dude was in good shape at one point.
Dude, the guy was like my size at one point. Yeah, it was ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous.
That's incredible. Dude.
Yeah.
That's
heavy.
That's a serious progression.
It is a serious progression.
I mean, I've watched him hold mitts for guys before. He looks like he knows what he's doing there.
He does. I'm not saying the guy doesn't know what he's doing. I mean, I think he used to be an MMA fighter.
He owns a school in Harrison?
He does.
Really?
He owns a school in Harrison, yeah.
Like an MMA school?
It's like a jiu-jitsu / MMA school. Mostly jiu-jitsu, though. Yeah, a lot of local Harrison cops, they train there.
Oh.
Yeah. I can't imagine that his jiu-jitsu is that good, but look, I don't want to talk bad about anybody. I don't know how good his jiu-jitsu is or it isn't, but he looks like to be somewhat of a lay and pray type of grappler, to say the least.
Yeah.
But he's popped up at a bunch of different schools over time. I've seen him in a bunch of pictures with a whole bunch of different people in Brazil and such. So it is.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. So do you see the progression? What does he weigh? Like 155? He's like 155 right there, I think. And now he's got to be like 355. He's a big guy, man.
I mean, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Going back to
yeah.
What I'm seeing is UFC 297 coming up January. He's going against Alexander
Yes. Yeah, I didn't know they were going to make that fight. It's an interesting fight. I think the fight they have to make, man, they got to make Adesanya Pieta, number 3. You know, and I was saying that it's amazing to me, you know, like he coincidentally is going to be out. What is he hoping, that Pieta retires before 2024? Or no, 2027. 2027. Yeah, what is he hoping that that he retires before then? Because it's ridiculous, man. I don't know how they didn't make that rematch. You know, it was almost like Dana. You know, some things about Dana, man, are very confusing. You know, it's almost like, nope, he has to go up in weight. Why does he have to go up in weight? The guy never missed weight.
Yeah.
You know, granted, I'm not mad he went up in weight. Obviously, the guy, he's been very successful there, and I'm glad to see him. You know, he's now become it almost made him look even better now than it would have. But you know, especially considering that Blachowicz beat Adesanya.
Yeah.
Adesanya couldn't touch Yuri. I don't care what anybody says. So I wonder. Now, look, these guys made a lot of money. Who am I to say anything? But Adesanya's still in his prime, as far as I'm concerned.
He's young, man.
He's very young.
Yeah.
He's very young. I mean, losing to Strickland, I don't see Pieta beat Strickland, as a matter of fact.
He folded him.
Yes, he folded for Strickland. So obviously that fight's not going to happen.
They're two different weight classes.
No, they are. They are. I know. I get that. But I would love to see Adesanya go up again. But he's not beating Pieta at that weight class.
I'm laughing at Strickland, man. The amount of crap that man talks, dude.
I know.
He's like, just anybody that says anything, he's like, yo, let me tell you what I think about that.
Exactly. Who's he fighting next?
He's fighting
that's right, Duplessis.
Which that's an exciting fight.
It is. I like that.
Yeah.
I'm interested in that fight for sure. It's going to be much more exciting than the Adesanya Strickland fight for sure.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, Duplessis got heavier hands. He's very unorthodox as well.
Another coincidence, right? Being that Adesanya loses to Strickland, they're obviously not giving Adesanya the rematch, the immediate rematch. Who would he fight?
Yeah.
Probably Duplessis.
Yeah.
Right? So it's interesting how this guy kind of ducks people. He talks a lot of shit, man. But in that last fight with Pieta, he claimed to have played a little possum and been working on that, but
he looked like he was in trouble, man.
I'm just saying, and we saw him be in trouble in that type of scenario before, so,
It didn't look too different than when Strickland clipped him.
No, it didn't, and it didn't look too different than when Pieta knocked him out the first time at the Garden. So, I think, what's that?
The Strickland and
Uh-huh.
That's January.
Ooh, that's a nice card. That's a nice card.
I did see they officially confirmed for 300. McGregor Chandler is going to happen.
Yeah. When 2027, when Adesanya comes back, I did see mid 24. I think they said, right, something like
no, for 300. So
no, when is that? When is that?
I think 297 in January. So
okay, so probably like March.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Hopefully that happens, man. I will always be a McGregor fan, regardless of what, the amount of crap he talks and him being away from the fight game as long as he has. He's always been, even when the fights that he's lost, he showed sign of winning the fight at some point in the fight. When he got knocked out he fought Poirier how many times? 3 times? Okay. So the second time he got knocked out, obviously, and then the third he hurt his leg. Now, even in the second fight, he looked to be winning that fight at some point prior to being knocked out, right?
I just think that he's got incredible gall, man. To have a leg that's hanging on by just skin.
I know.
And still talking smack.
I know.
This guy he's game. Man.
He definitely is game.
He
definitely is game.
He's like got the heart of a real, like he's a fighter.
There's no question about it. No matter how rich he gets, no matter how flashy he gets, he's still a fighter.
He's still dumb enough to just pick on anybody.
No, he really is,
dude.
He really is. It was funny. I saw a quick clip. I think I sent it to you, where it was Chandler and Diaz in an elevator, and they were asking Chandler about how it goes, and he was like, second round knockout. He's going to knock out McGregor in the second round, and they were like, so Nick, how do you think it goes? And Nick was like, dude, don't get me involved in this. So, but it's going to be interesting. There's a lot of great fights coming up. And on another note, switching over to grappling, we have that Who's Number One coming up. Oh man, I'm super excited for that.
What's your most exciting match for that one?
I want to see Tainan. I want to see how, even though he's they're giving him somewhat of a, I don't know how much of a challenge it's going to be for him. Because at the end of the day, even though he's mostly competed in the gi, he trains under some killers in no gi. The Mendes brothers are known for their gi game, but obviously you go back to their ADCC game days, against Cabrinha and some of these other guys, and they were killers, man. Yeah. Absolute killers. They know what they're doing, and they've shown that with the fighters that have come out from that camp. And I am excited to see that, because I do want to see Marigal and Pena is not on that card, right?
Fight Pass, I think.
That's on Fight Pass.
Yeah.
I do want to see that.
That's one of the more exciting ones for me coming up.
I want to see that. I want to see that fight bad. I want to see though the fight that they need to make, and that's Mikey Musumeci and Baby Shark.
Yeah.
You know, I know I've talked shit and joked about it before, but that's the fight I really, really want to see.
Yeah.
I want Mikey Musumeci to be challenged, and not by some 45-year-old, you know, washed up, you know, just semi-decent grappler. You know, like he's a good grappler. He's a great grappler. I want to see him challenged as such. You know, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
All right, man.
All right, dude.
Signing out.
Peace.
Peace.